Reeta, look, you've been saying this for a long time. I'm a little slow. I think I got it now. Why has it taken me so long? Why has it taken me so long to figure out that the Ravens, no qualifiers, are just the best team in football? Well, best team in the AFC, and maybe the best team in football. Educate me.
I don't know, Holly. I think, you know why? I think the reason why is because of the losses that they had, because every single loss that they've had, they've beaten themselves, right? It's not a situation where you felt like the other team was responsible for their loss. They'd given up leads in essentially every game that they had that they had losses. So I understand the logic. We all are flawed human beings, but you're here now. And you understand that as of right now, the Ravens are the number one seed. And it's funny because you and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago about the Steelers, but what you really should have been having a conversation about, I do. What you really should have been talking about is the Cleveland Browns. I'm actually concerned about if the Ravens will be able to hold on to the AFC North title because the Browns have a less harder schedule than the Ravens in the last 4 weeks. It's a possibility, but that's because the AFC North has every team in the division has a winning record right now. So that just tells you about the craziness that has been the 2023 NFL season thus far.
Liv, you feeling the Ravens as the best team in the conference? I mean, the record says they are clearly, but when you look at the whole conference, do you say, hey, the team that might be in Vegas, most likely to be in Vegas in February, is Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you don't think that at this point in time, but Holly, I got to say, I don't blame you for not being convinced on this team because I got to tell you, I get nervous about the injuries. This is not a team. This is not like the Ravens are this habitually healthy team. We have seen them have a really good start to their season and sit at the top of their division. And it's one of those things where this is a team that I hold my breath on when it comes to the injuries that are still possible to happen for the remainder of the season. So that has been my one and only reservation with this Ravens team. When the season first started, that was the one thing I said is, on paper, this team looks great. We know what Lamar Jackson is capable of. We know this is a well-coached machine. We know that this team on paper looks like they should be at the top of their division. They should be one of the top teams in the AFC, but you always worry about the injuries that always lie ahead for this team. So I am hoping that there is none of that for the remainder of the season. And I think that if there isn't any of that in the remainder of the season, I don't know how you don't make a case for this Ravens team right now, especially led by a guy like Lamar Jackson.
Liv and Reeta, last question on the Ravens. I asked this question yesterday. I had it in the feed. I didn't get to it. Why don't we talk about Lamar Jackson as MVP? Is he having an MVP season? I think so. Why don't we talk about him more?
I think he's an MVP candidate. I definitely think that we can make a better case for maybe Brock or Dak at this point. But I agree that he should be in the conversation. I don't think that the statistics necessarily tell the story because when you look at the game on Sunday, it'll say, oh, well, he had a 96, passer rating. He only completed 55% of his passes. I understand he missed a lot of deep balls. But when it counted the most, when they needed to make a play at the end of the game, Lamar put his cape on. He found a way to move the ball down the field, be the Lamar that we know that he can be. The touchdown and the 2-point conversion was probably two of the better sequences that I have seen all year. So I definitely think that there's a conversation of Lamar being in the mix. I definitely think that he should be talked about, but I wonder if Dak and Brock Purdy have had better seasons, and that's why we're not having as much of a conversation about Lamar as we probably should.
I agree with that because I do think that Lamar Jackson, honestly, this is a quarterback that we have seen for many seasons just face scrutiny for how he plays, his lack of throwing ability, which I have always disagreed with. But the only thing I'm going to push back on that Reeta just said is I would absolutely not put Brock Purdy in MVP conversation because to me, most valuable player, I would not because I will die on this hill and I have said it for months and I have had people come at me and I've taken it and I just don't care. To me, when I'm looking at a quarterback in an MVP position, to me, that is a quarterback that I trust that no matter who is injured, no matter what players are on the field, they can in some capacity take over a game and win that football game. Brock Purdy has an elite skill player in almost every position on offense on the field with him at any given moment. You take those people away, even some. We've seen games where there were plenty of injuries to those skill elite players, and he had a very different game. The 49ers were not winning. He was turning the ball over. He was no longer protecting the ball like he did. There's a lot of times I watch Brock Purdy and I go, woo, they just bailed you out. They just bailed that Christian McCaffrey, that Debo, that Ayuk, that whoever.
And
he is stacked. He is stacked. And I don't want to take away from what he has done. But to me,
that's a fair point, though.
The MVP is top of the line. I can trust that person to, no matter who's out there, figure it out and win a game. You take away some of those elite skill players from Brock Purdy, and I would consider him maybe slightly above average, but to me, he is not by himself. He is not an elite quarterback. He is a quarterback on an elite team. He is not an elite quarterback, and I'll leave it at that.
I'll just say this. I'll say this before we move on to the next topic. I'll say this. I love when other people say it and I don't have to.
There you go. I just did that for you. There you go.
I want to say this. This is not me and what I think. This is what I think that the voters will do. I want to be clear on this.
For sure.
I agree with what Liv is saying. Her point is valid. I'm not saying that I don't disagree with anything, but I'm saying what I think that the voters will do. And as we just saw, the lower thirds that we just saw, it shows that they have Brock Purdy at the top of the chain in terms of MVP conversation. So this is not me. I agree with you 100%. I think that he needs elite talent in order to be the elite player, because we saw what he looked like when he didn't have Trent Williams and Debo Samuels. We know that they lost to, then he had the concussion in the third game. But ultimately, I just don't think that whoever votes will see it that way, which is the unfortunate part.
They won't. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.